Another week, another circuit. This weekend, F1 heads to Portugal. Hello and welcome to the Pit Crew podcast. My name's Ed. This is my co-host Dylan.
Hello.
And this weekend, F1 is in Portugal at the Portimao circuit. I think that's probably not its full name, but at the circuit Portimao in the Algarve region of Portugal. Last Portuguese Grand Prix was held in 1996, but not at Portimao, at Estoril. So drivers are getting acquainted with this circuit and they have to get up to speed very quickly. It's a very undulating circuit, very up and down, and very twisty turny as well, because that's how circuits are. They're not. It's not straight lines. So all circuits are twisty turny. That is your new fact. It's fun.
Unless it's
fact.
NASCAR.
Yeah, but that's not really a sport, is it?
Yeah.
No, that's not really. It's just people sitting in cars turning left.
True.
Okay, we're less than a minute in and we've started having our NASCAR rant. But anyway, yes, we're in Portugal. The drivers, lots of them span in FP1 and FP2 today, getting used to the new circuit that's been recently resurfaced. So not much rubber down, very slippy. As always, Bottas was on top. He's usually on top on Friday, but then Hamilton can come back and dominate by Sunday. Pierre Gasly's car caught fire, as you can see on the left-hand corner of the screen there. Went up in lots of smoke. Session was red flagged twice in FP2 because Pierre Gasly's car caught fire for a reason that hasn't been released to the public yet. And Max Verstappen and... Sorry, I keep thinking of Esteban Ocon because Esteban Ocon was the man who crashed with Max Verstappen 2 years ago, and it's a very famous crash, isn't it, Dylan?
Yeah.
No, he crashed with Lance Stroll. There we go. He crashed with Lance Stroll at turn 1. Anyway, news. We've been off air for nearly 2 weeks, and plenty has happened in the world of F1. The driver market has changed a little bit. Haas has completely reset its driver lineup for next year. We don't know who's coming in. Yep, at last, finally. Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean are finally out. They're awful. I think we should have done this at the end of 2019, really. Last year, they should have gone. But that certainly frees up 2017.
Yeah.
It's a bit drastic. I mean, they had a good year in 2018. They were 5th in the Constructors, so...
Yeah, all right.
I think 2019 they should have done it. They're a bit late, but they freed it up. They haven't announced who's coming in next, but they're a Ferrari Academy team, so we could get Mick Schumacher, Callum Ilott and Schwartzman coming in to fill those seats. Alfa Romeo, that could happen, and if Schumacher goes to Alfa Romeo, we could get a Raikkonen Schumacher lineup. How cool would that be, Dylan?
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, Raikkonen raced against Schumacher, Mick Schumacher's dad.
Michael.
Michael. Well, Mick and Michael are the same
and
name.
Ralph.
Yeah, he raced against the legend, and now he'd be partnering his son. I mean... Oh, that would be so cool to see next year, but nothing's been said. This is only speculation. Would you like to see at Haas next year, Dylan?
Definitely Schumacher, and maybe Perez could come in.
Yeah. I mean, we were discussing this a couple of days ago, actually. I personally think that it'd be cooler to have Schumacher at Alfa Romeo. I don't know why. I just think it will be. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. It would just be better. Him and Raikkonen.
Yeah.
And where would Gio go?
The stairs in Dylan's house are creaking away there. I would like to see Schumacher at Alfa Romeo.
Where would Gio go?
Giovinazzi. Still don't think he's F1 material. Very good driver, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he's F1 material. He could go Haas. We got Hulkenberg. Come on, we need Hulk, the super sub. I want him back. I like Hulk. Everyone likes Hulkenberg.
I'd
like to see him.
He's had his go. He did nothing.
I mean, Perez could go to Red Bull, because Albon's underperforming. I personally don't think they should get rid of him, or they will get rid of him. That would be cruel to Albon. Another thing they've done to a Rebel Driver Academy driver. I said that awfully, and yeah, that I don't think that'll happen. But another rumor, and this is only a rumor, and the high chances are that this is not going to come true. I hope it's not going to come true because I love George Russell, but there are rumors that because Williams need money, even with the new investors, they'd get Sergio Perez in, who has sponsor backing behind him, sponsorship backing, bringing in the big money. And even though George Russell has a contract to drive, he wouldn't actually get the seat next year. I'd hate to see that. I think that'd be a really bad thing for Williams to do, and considering they're such a reputable team, one of the greats of the sport, I don't think they should do that. Do you, Dylan?
No, I don't think they should keep Russell. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if Bottas leaves at the end of next year, he could go to Mercedes.
Yeah, that's, as you can see, silly season has only really just begun. The driver transfers are going to come thick and fast. We've got Haas to be filled. Alfa Romeo's not confirmed. Lewis Hamilton hasn't confirmed his contract for Mercedes, but I don't
He
think
will
that's...
stay, yeah.
Yeah, he'll stay. There's no reason for him
Ferrari
to go.
tried to get him to
But he
Ferrari.
has been wearing a lot of yellow clothes in photos recently, so Lewis Hamilton to Renault confirmed.
No.
You've heard it here first. 23rd of October. You heard it here. Lewis Hamilton to Mercedes. No, I don't think that would happen in a million. Lewis Hamilton to Mercedes. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, the silly season's only just begun. We'll I bet you next podcast we do for the next race, which I think is at Imola. That's it. It's next weekend actually. I bet you we will have some news on driver transfers in teams such as Haas and Alfa Romeo. But anyway, moving on. We're nearly 6.5 minutes in, and we're over 6.5 minutes in actually,
and we haven't done the
predictions. And we're supposed to be doing predictions. You can 100% professionalism here. Okay, moving on to the predictions. What do I think for qualifying? Personally, I think Hamilton will get P1. I mean, Bottas has been doing very well in qualifying, but I still think Hamilton will do it. And it's an undulating circuit, and Hamilton seems to like elevation change circuits. I mean, look at him at Spa. He's very good at Spa. But Bottas P2 because Mercedes 1-2. It's just the way of the world at the moment. And P3 Verstappen. I've gone a very boring prediction because on the other side of the screen, Dylan hasn't. He's stolen my job. Dylan, what do you think is going to happen in qualifying?
I think Bottas will maintain his pace from practice and get pole position, followed by Verstappen and Norris, because why not? I mean, he was third in practice too, I believe.
I think that's where you got the idea from.
No.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I hope Bottas does seem to do that. I mean, he did it the last Grand Prix in at the Nürburgring. He does seem to have pace on Friday and Saturday, and then Hamilton just crushes him when he needs to get those points. He's now got a 69-point lead, which is absolutely incredible. But moving on to the race predictions. In my universe, I think that Hamilton is going to get that P1, Bottas going to get that P2, and Verstappen going to get that P3. That's no change, sadly, from my qualifying predictions. I hope that the race is not a procession. Even if that happens, I do hope there's a good midfield battle. Portugal, it's such an undulating, twisty-turny circuit, as I like to say. I hope it's going to be a cracking race. Dylan, what do you think?
I agree with you. I put Hamilton first just because I want him to break Schumacher's record and get 92 wins.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. As I said before, Hamilton just crushes Bottas when he needs to get those points on race day. So I completely agree with you there. And sadly, I'm not going to make another wildcard prediction. Is Dylan having a good influence on me or a bad influence on me?
Definitely bad. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a bad. Actually, you know what? My P3, an unofficial change, because otherwise I won't win. Unofficial change, I'm going to put Russell P3. You heard it here first.
Why Russell? He's not going to.
If he does, I'll give you £50. Influence on me. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. you heard it here. But yes, this may be the first time that Dylan and I have predicted the exact same thing. I think it actually is the first time we've predicted the exact same thing. But anyway, getting back to talking about other things rather than our fantasizing about what we think will happen. Dylan, do you think there'll be a safety car this weekend?
I think there will be, considering loads of people are spun in practice. I don't know if it's just because the surface is the circuit has been resurfaced, so it might just be slippery and just needs to get worn down a bit to get some grip. But I think they could be.
Yeah, I agree there. I do think there'll be a safety car. It's a newly resurfaced circuit, so yeah, I completely and utterly agree that we could have a safety car. Newly resurfaced circuit, nice and slippy, lots of drivers are spun. It will get rubbered in, as they say, over the weekend, so it will get a bit grippier. But it's twisty turny, not much runoff. So yeah, I do completely agree with you there. I do think there will be a safety car this weekend. Dylan, what do you think will be the biggest surprise of the weekend?
Maybe a Ferrari getting back on the podium. Who knows?
You stole mine.
Did I?
You stole mine.
Let's go for Williams.
Hang on, that'll be my next point. Yeah, I do think Ferrari. They brought some upgrade packages to practice today, and it looks promising. FP2, Leclerc got P4, Vettel got I think P8. They did very well compared to how they did in FP1. So their final bit of their package seems to work, and hopefully we can see a red suited man on the podium and a red car in that, at least P3. It would be nice to see. I do agree that could be a big surprise. And I always say it, Williams scoring some points, because why not? Why not get Williams scoring some more points? Complete opposite of that, though. What do you think will be the biggest disappointment?
Probably Albon not getting points.
Not getting points? Ooh. I wouldn't go as far as that. I'd say Albon's performance will probably be underwhelming. He seems to be stuck in a rut, as we've already mentioned. But I personally don't think he's not going to score any points. But yeah, I think Alexander Albon's performance will be quite lackluster today. But I mean, looking at FP2, he did get P10 in a Red Bull that is quite skittish. The rear end is very light, and as Verstappen said on the radio in FP1, it's like a drift car sometimes when they set it up. So yeah, I'd say that could be a disappointment. And I'm going to say it again, Williams not scoring points and Ferrari not doing as well as Ferrari should do. So yeah, it's the Pick Through podcast. You know you're going to hear that when it's the predictions episode. Dylan, I've got a random question for you here before we get on to who we think will get the fastest lap. What's your favourite corner on the circuit?
The last corner, the long right-hander, the quick right-hander.
I'm actually going to go turn 1, because if you've watched it on board, we might put a link up in the top right-hand corner of the screen for that. It goes sharply downhill into turn 1, and that will feel great. The car will probably suddenly get very light, and then you're going to turn it in, and it's kind of, I don't know if you can see what I mean, and if you're looking at the track map as well, if you can see what I mean, it's almost like a triple right-hander. Because you go right, you go into another right, and then you start braking for a hairpin. So it's kind of going to flow round, and it almost looks like a coat hanger. And I just think that looks great fun, that complex. But Dylan, your face when I said coat hanger was absolutely brilliant. Yes, that's my random question for you, and your face when I said random question. You did know I was going to say favorite corner, but your face, you were like, oh no, yeah. What's he gonna say now that will catch me off guard? But Dylan, stop the show again before we go on to fastest lap. It is time for Ed's fun fact. You can see Pasta's very stretched face there, smiling at you. He's clearly enjoying or looking forward to finding out an interesting fact, and I can't think of an interesting fact today, so I'm going to go with the obvious. It's Dylan's birthday tomorrow. Everyone wish Dylan a happy birthday. Let me think of it. Let me think of a little F1 themed happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Your interesting fact. It'd be interesting to see if our viewing numbers just plummeted as soon as I started doing that happy birthday. You muted it. Great. Okay. moving on, before I interrupted us for about 2 minutes, what do you think? Who do you think will get the fastest lap this weekend, Dylan?
I'm going to go with Valtteri Bottas. I think
That's
it'll be
interesting.
good.
But yeah, his one lap pace is good. I'm actually going to go for Max Verstappen. I haven't done many wildcard predictions. I haven't done any this episode. So Max Verstappen, he does have good one lap pace. So yeah, I think he could get fastest lap of the race. But that about brings us to the end of this week's episode of predictions for the Portuguese Grand Prix. We hope you enjoy listening to all the action unfold, or watching all the action unfold if you're lucky enough to have Sky Sports F1. We will see you Sunday evening or Monday, depending on when we want to record, for our race report. But for now,
there might be a surprise video.
Yeah, right. I'll leave it there.
Maybe.
But maybe we'll see. Dylan, don't get their hopes up. It's only the Pick Through podcast. But for now, I've been Ed.
And I've been Dylan.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.